up, everybody? My name is Kyle, and I'm here with Alan and Tomas, and we are going to be your host for the Nerd BS podcast. And BS stands for whatever you want it to stand for. Not really. It actually stands for backstory, because we want to give you the backstory on who we are and nerd stuff, pretty much in general. So we have 3 topics. We talk about general pop culture. That's usually movies, TV shows that have to do with nerd stuff. We'll be talking about the Mandalorian in a little bit, video games, and then tabletop games such as D&D. And those are our 3 main topics on the show that we want to talk about, because we love nerd stuff and we love to talk about it. So we want to give you the nerd BS. So we're going to get into the show. But first, you guys, what have you been doing this week? Or should I say, how are you doing this week? Tomas, how are you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. A little stressed out and frustrated, but you know, it will all come out in the soapbox. So we're good. We're good.
The soapbox, yeah, for our listeners, the soapbox is the end of the show where we get a few minutes to rant about whatever we want, good or bad. So I can't wait to hear. Alan, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Live, recording in a laundry room right now. This has been real fun. Got evacuated because, as some of you have probably heard, California is on fire, and so that's been real fun. It's nice and smoky outside.
This is true.
Other than that, I'm alive and healthy, so that's a bonus. And they got a cool little PlayStation announcement stuff today, so that was fun to watch. And little games coming out this weekend that I'm really excited for, but we'll get back to that later. How you doing? You doing good this week?
I'm well. Like you said, we are covered in smoke, and we're all recording remotely due to the pandemic. So we're in a double whammy right now, surrounded by fire and disease. But we're making the best of it. We get to talk about stuff we love. And like you said, there's some PS5 news, there's some Xbox news this week. So let's jump into the news for this week. We like to do the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we start with the ugly because we want to get it out of the way. We want to end on a good note. So who wants to take away the ugly news for this week?
Well, since I was blasting you guys all week on Discord about it.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
It's not terrible news because it's Nintendo, and Nintendo likes to do this. They have this bad habit of making some wonderful stuff and then just doing some really lackluster additions, or in this case, non-additions or subtractions. But anyways, we got Super Mario 3D All-Stars coming out this Friday. I actually have it pre-ordered, so I guess I can't say too much because they got me. But some news came out this week about some of the lack of features. Number one, it is the 3 games. I guess we'll start with that. 3 games. They all look really pretty, but for some reason, don't know why Mario 64 couldn't get not only the widescreen, but can't even get 1080. It's on 720, so it's a grade lower. All 3 of them are on emulation, which is pretty wacky and seems really weird. It's not ported. I'm kind of wondering if that's going to be an issue for.
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
I'll allow it.
How much is this?
This is $60.
Full priced.
$60.
$60 premium.
They got you.
They got me.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. I pre-ordered it too.
Really?
Yeah, okay. It is in the ugly news. I'm surprised because I am a Nintendo fanboy. I have a whole display. It was actually interesting this week. My son, who's almost a year old, likes to go and just push all the video games to the back of the shelf and make a mess and then open them all, which is fine because I have all the games in a separate case. So it's like, whatever. We were hanging out in that area and I was like, oh, this almost looks like a shrine. This is who we worship. I'm like, this doesn't look good for my kid. But anyways, the point is I'm a big fanboy of Mario games and Nintendo in general. But we put this in ugly because, like Alan said, there's nothing to it. And I have the I don't know if you guys remember the All-Stars, Super Mario All-Stars for Wii. For the Wii.
Oh, for Wii. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I played the 64 one. Wasn't there a 64 one?
It was only on Super.
No, I'm thinking of Party. I'm thinking of Party.
Party.
That's what I'm thinking.
We don't know what comes with the All-Star game. It doesn't look like anything, but the Wii version, which was like you said, the Super Nintendo games, came with a DVD, like a little mini history of the Nintendo games. I think the games were redone to like the updated graphics. Like they all look like Super Nintendo or Mario 3. I can't recall, but I was
They look
looking
like
at it
Super
this
Nintendo
week.
Mario, yeah.
It was a cool box. It's a really cool box to put on display too. And well, I don't know how much it was when it came out. I can't remember, but I found a used copy for like $25. So yeah, the $60 price tag too, like you said, Tomas, they got you.
It sounds rough, but I will say this is the first time we're getting Sunshine released, which is kind of cool, even though I never played the game.
Yeah.
But that's not even the worst of it. We even got more. We got number one. It only has 3 games. They have not mentioned anything about Super Mario Galaxy 2, which is not on the game. I have a little conspiracy about that, but I'll end with that. Last but not least, which is the worst part, and also I think one of the more slimiest things that Nintendo has done in a while, it is a limited release. You cannot buy this past, what is it, March next year? Yeah, that's it. It's not only going to be gone from stores, pulled off shelves, it is also going to be stripped from the eShop. It won't be available digital anymore, which is pretty crazy. I don't know what you guys think about that.
That sounds really slimy. Like I'm not a huge Nintendo, like unlike Kyle, I don't have a shrine to Nintendo, but
I'm guilty as well. I have a whole amiibo shrine.
Oh man.
But I mean I enjoy Nintendo games every now and then, especially like group games like Mario Party and stuff like that. But I mean it just sounds really I don't think I've ever heard of Nintendo doing something like limited.
They do limited games. They've done limited games. The game that Kyle just talked about, the Mario All-Stars for Wii, that was actually also limited, but they didn't have it available digital. I can't remember what it came with, but I know it's kind of difficult to find for a while.
Let's all be honest here. How good the Wii do?
Wii did amazing. The Wii U was the problem.
Yeah, the Wii is still, it's the Switch is closing in, but it's their best-selling console of all time.
Oh,
yeah,
I felt like that thing was
because you are a gamer. You see, your average person who wasn't a gamer who just played games on occasion, they bought a Wii. It was cheaper.
Yeah, it was
Nintendo.
It's casual. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Everywhere it went, it had Wii.
All right, but I'm probably pulling us off topic. What I was saying was though, like I don't know, I don't feel like Nintendo's ever been slimy, so maybe I've just been naive to Nintendo's sliminess. But
that's a great point. Yeah, they don't. That's why I said I was surprised they're in the ugly. But I mean, no one's perfect, and I think they kind of dropped the ball on this. Even though Alan and I both reserved it, pre-ordered it, and but that's the kind of grip they have on it. So we can continue that discussion later on if it comes up. However, we want to move on to the bad news of this week. Tomas, why don't you tell us the bad news this week?
Yeah, so in our last podcast, I talked a lot about the new Batman movie coming up, especially the villains. I've heard in news, it wasn't like recent, but I think it was a week ago or so. Robert Pattinson came down with COVID. So that's pretty much in the bad because that's just sucky. Like to be in that situation for anyone is just terrible, and that sucks.
Yeah, I agree. That was the news last time for our last podcast, I believe, was that how The Rock had gotten COVID, and now Batman himself is not immune to this disease. So.
to the mighty COVID. From what I read, and like I said, this was updated about a week ago, the production has been shut down for now. It is set to reopen back in March.
Wow.
The Batman movie has been canceled up until March now.
Okay. Yeah. Wish the best and pray that he recovers.
Yeah.
But the bad news is that, Batman movie, more delays. So we can live with it. We'll get through this, but that is bad news.
Some of us can live with it. All right. Some of us were really excited.
Struggling.
All right.
This is part of the frustration of the week.
It's hard not to get Batman fix. Okay.
I agree, but why don't we end our news portion with some good news? What's the good news this week, you guys?
Oh, that's Sony.
Sony
show. Sony's show. I don't know what you want to call it. But yeah, we had a Sony show today. The event showed off quite a bit. of games. Number one, which is what kind of Sony and PlayStation are known for. I mean, they never have the best, or last generation they were a little under at Microsoft. This generation even seemed to be a little bit under this next one coming out in specs, but their games are still on point, and there's some really good games and some more information. And but the most important part that most of us are waiting for, and I think Kyle discussed this last week, was the price.
That is right. That is exactly right. That was my soapbox last week, that the prices have finally been revealed for the Xbox and the PlayStation 5, and I'm actually pretty happy. It could have been a lot worse. What is it? What are the prices?
Well, I have the Xbox right here, and the Xbox standalone console itself is $499
for the Xbox.
That's for the Xbox Series X. That's their premier console.
Yes.
Premier, you're right.
And you can pre-order as of September 22nd.
So next week. As of time of this recording, it's next week.
Yeah, on the 10th, we also got the Xbox Series S, which is $299, which is actually really cool. $300, and that'll come up later.
$300. That's crazy.
That's a really good deal
for
even
the next gen
though
console.
The specs are lower. It doesn't have 4K for the newer consoles, which is kind of off-putting, but still for the price, you're able to play those games, which is really cool.
The Series X though does have the 4K.
Yeah, Series X. Yeah. In fact, it is slightly better than the PlayStation 5 hardware-wise, but nothing a normal person who plays the game will even notice.
So this is all good news, and the PlayStation price, I believe, is $499 for the disc drive one, and $399 for the digital. And it just looks like the disc drive version looks like it has a little tumor on it with the added disc drive, while the Xbox ones they're completely different, like not even close to
I actually like the visuals on the Xbox a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree.
The PlayStation 5, it definitely looks like it will fit into my entertainment center better than that beastie box that is the X.
The tower. It is odd.
Well, the PS5 at least looks slim, fit in my entertainment system, which is nice.
I will say this in my support of, and I believe the Xbox Series X has this as well, for the disc, the disc console, they have the ability, it says, to change your PS4 games into digital PS5 games.
What does that mean?
Wait, you talking about Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation, to store it.
So they're not going to require discs anymore?
No, you can put your disc in and it will create supposedly a digital.
For PS4 games only?
For the PS4, but it updates them to the PS5 level. So
okay. I was wondering how that worked.
So here, let me try and find it again, and we can talk more about it later on where we're planning on talking.
We're just have moved into our topic section, and rather than mix it up, let's just continue this talk about Xbox and PS5.
All right.
Because it just doesn't make sense to muddle it up. So
You're right. So let me just put this out there. So I'm reading it here. It says the PS5 console gives game publishers the ability to let players upgrade their disc and digital PS4 games to the digital PS5 games. So it is up to the game publishers to make that ability possible for your game. And this is from the PlayStation website. PlayStation.com. PlayStation 5.
Okay, cool.
You just scroll down here to the first one, which is the PS5 console, not the digital edition.
Okay, but that's still cool, because I was actually wondering, I was watching the video on it, and I actually took some screenshots and sent them over to put them on our Discord, and to try to prove a point, realizing afterwards that it's still really vague what it really means. So that's good to hear. So basically what you're saying is we get to copy the games and play them on the PS5. That's cool.
As long as the game publisher allows it.
Yeah. That's a cool feature. But to go off what you're saying, Alan, that was, I think the point we were talking about was that I find Sony to be very, and maybe they've always been this way. Thinking back, they've had some weird marketing ploys and all that, but it's a vague situation for them. Whereas the Xbox, it's a little bit more out in the open. And you mentioned that the digital one doesn't have 4K. I feel like they're more in touch with the average consumer because I don't have a 4K TV. I don't plan on getting a 4K TV anytime soon unless one of my TV blows out and they're on sale. So for me to see, $300 console next gen, yeah, thank you. Like I'm not into the 4K thing. I feel like they're a little bit more in touch with their consumers, but at the same time, I think they're just trying to sell subscriptions to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, at least I could be completely wrong, but this is my theory. Is Sony sells more than PS5. Sony is a company that sells televisions and they sell these 4K televisions.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's one reason that I don't know if Microsoft has made a TV. They may have.
No, but they make electronics too. And they monopolize the world of software.
I kind of feel like that's maybe why Sony does this, is because they push you to upgrade. They want you to want to upgrade. So it makes a bigger buyer market. It makes a bigger buyer's market that way.
I suppose. I think I just feel a little alienated with just tell me what it does and the in-depth stuff. Like, I'm glad you guys know what that is, or whoever, if you're into the specs, can it play the next gen games? Like, what are the games that are going to be on there? That's what I care about. So,
We need games. Demon's Souls. It's supposed to be.
yes.
It's a timed exclusive. I did find that out, by the way. It's a timed exclusive. It's coming to PC, but no, I don't know about Xbox. I didn't see about Xbox. It say PC.
What's a timed exclusive?
Timed exclusive means it'll be on PlayStation first.
Ah, yes. Yeah, they get a lot of that
Probably
stuff.
6-7 months down the line, it'll be available elsewhere. Final Fantasy 16, we talked about a little bit about that earlier. That also is a timed exclusive, so that'll be available on PC as well eventually.
That to me was a big surprise. Like, I did not see that one coming, and that's the other side of the coin for me, is that Sony has the exclusives. Man, they are killing it with those exclusives.
Yeah. They got a lot of the exclusives. And that was the thing, is like when Xbox first came out, I actually owned an Xbox and I really liked it. I thought it was great. I thought this whole Sony fad was soon for the grave. I was totally into Xbox.
The original or 360?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, the old school one where you could make the controller into like a war club, and you could brain somebody with
the
those
Duke.
things. You remember
I
those?
love
Yeah.
the Duke,
Yeah.
man. I actually have an updated one on the Xbox
Yeah,
One.
I remember.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, and the Xbox 360 came out, and I freaking loved that. I loved how they streamlined the controller.
Oh, yeah.
I know other people didn't really enjoy it, but I loved how they streamlined the controller and everything like that. I loved it. And then I remember I was over at my friend's house and we were both playing, and he was playing his PS2 and I was playing my 360. No, it was a PS3 back then, right?
Yeah, 360 and PS3.
So he had just got the PS3 and I had just got the 360. That's what it was, yeah. And so we were both playing Dragon Age. And I remember I was playing, looking at my screen, and I looked over at his screen and I was like, that looks a little better. Kept playing for a little while, looked back over there. That looks a lot better. And that was pretty much what sold me. I saw the difference on the PlayStation versus the Xbox, and I got a PlayStation, and I've loved it ever since, because that was the one huge drawback to Xbox, was I felt there were better exclusive games that were coming out on the PlayStation than were coming on the Xbox. I mean, Xbox had Halo. That was about it.
Right.
That I feel was great.
So Gears of War, I'm a big Gears of War fan. I have all of them. And to go on the Xbox rant, the other side of that, the Game Pass, which coincidentally I paid up until the end of this month. So it actually, if I go for the new Xbox, it works out perfectly. But or it a month or so overlapping. Yeah, the Gears of War 5 was released on the Game Pass. So if you had the subscription, you got the full game the day of release, which
Yeah.
is another one of those points for Xbox for me, because I was in the same boat as you, Tomas. I was big Sony, like it's hard to take down. The Xbox is taking those steps. Like those are a couple things. Like the price is one. The release day on Game Pass. Like, oh, I just need a subscription. I don't have to pay for a $60 game the day of release, which I hate doing. So
Yeah, I never buy a game. Usually full retail.
I will say this in one of the reasons that I've kind of stuck with Sony, and in looking at the Xbox, I feel like the Xbox is their controller this time looks kind of big again. I don't know, maybe it's just because of the size of the Xbox.
I haven't actually seen the controller. I've seen the
If
PlayStation
you
one.
go on the website,
There's been
Yeah.
pictures of it, but it's
I'm sure it's
very
there.
lightly different.
if you go on the website, yeah, and the D-pad, the D-pad looks shifted back inwards. Like, wasn't the D-pad further to the left before? Well, anyways, it doesn't really matter. The thing is like I will say this about the PlayStation compared to the Xbox is the PlayStation is, I feel like they're not a company who changes lightly. I feel like if they have something that works, they keep it. And it's kind of a testament in that controller. That controller for Sony has, I mean, it still looks like a dog bone and it still feels like one.
But it works.
For Sony, yeah, but
Yeah,
the new
but-
PS5 controller actually looks pretty drastically different. Like this is probably
That's funny. That's really funny because yeah, I haven't even looked at the Xbox controller. I've been all about the PlayStation one, which to me it is definitely different.
Wow, it does kind of look like
I'm
an
looking at the
Xbox.
Xbox controller.
that's a lot of people said.
To me, it does look very similar to the other one. It looks like the third party version of the Xbox One controller.
Yeah, it looks a bit more round, and at least the black one, it looks like the bottom is they're more fat. The
Are you looking at the Xbox or PlayStation?
yeah, the Xbox, the bottom part of them,
Yeah.
it looks wider and thicker.
Yeah, I try to stay as agnostic as I can, except for Nintendo, who I've followed stupid amount, except for GameCube for some reason. But anyways, I digress. The point is I've actually switched back and forth as well every generation because
I gotta say one other thing though. Look at that D-pad on the Xbox. What the heck is that?
that is
What kind of a
actually
D-pad is that?
that is actually a more streamlined funky pad.
Don't try and sell me on how much better this is,
Okay.
because the
I did
PlayStation
not say it
D-pad
was
still looks
better.
like a
I
D-pad.
said I can see how it's be functional and good.
Let me say this. I hate the D-pad on the Xbox One controller. I loved the Xbox 360 controller. That's probably my favorite controller. I think the
Yes.
PlayStation D-pad is fine. However, looking at the new Series X controller, that looks like a fighting game D-pad to me. Like a fighting game friendly.
Okay.
Like you can really roll that sucker.
That's
Yeah.
what it's for. Yeah, rolling your finger around.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, time will tell. However, Alan, as much as you'd like to stay agnostic with this, we're going to choose a side today. You need to choose Xbox and PS5, and you get about 30 seconds to tell us why if you want.
Are we doing that right now?
We're doing that right now.
Oh, okay, all right. If I was going to pick one of these two, probably PlayStation overall, particularly because the games that are coming out, I really like Spider-Man. And so if I was going to pick one, even though I'm probably not going to get one for about another year, I would definitely go with that one. Although Game Pass is super enticing for a cheap-ass gamer like myself, but I don't have it, and I haven't experienced it, and I think I would just stay on PlayStation as it is. I already have like a community of people to play with as well, which is definitely a good thing. And so far, PlayStation they've been pretty solid to me, and the games are good, and it works. And so I haven't found a reason. Every time I've left a console, there's been a reason for it, and this is the first generation in a while that Sony has actually kept my faith in their product to even move forward to the next system. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
PlayStation for Alan Tomas. What is your choice? Xbox Series or PS5?
Well, you guys are right. That Game Pass is really tempting. It really is. Now that I've like read more about it and stuff, It does. It does really tempt. But I'm gonna have to stay with the PS5 because unless I can visually see that the Xbox is better, I like my PS5. I've gotten comfortable with it, and it has not disappointed me yet. So
Fair enough. So that's 2 for PS5. If it wasn't made clear before, I've been defending Xbox this whole time. I'm going for Xbox for a couple reasons. The first one, the Game Pass. Apparently you guys don't have it. I've had it for about a year now, and I find it to be one of the best gaming things I've ever. Like, there's so many games I don't have time to play them all, and they just keep coming out with new ones. Like Red Dead was available. Red Dead Redemption 2 was available for a while, and like I said, Gears 5 came out at launch. The other reason, which is purely cosmetic and definitely only pertains to me, is that I have all my consoles. I have tons of consoles. They're all black, including my Dreamcast. I have a black Dreamcast, and the PS5 is a white console. It won't. It would ruin everything. It just would look off and funky, and so I need the Series X console. But I'll probably get the $300 one, put it in my office, and then get the disk drive one later because I'd refuse to pay full price.
Yeah, and also there really isn't anything coming out for either of them that I would say is desperate right now. Like,
Yeah, good
nothing
point.
coming out at launch that really matters, so you have time to pick one up later.
Yeah, that's a good point.
especially if the PlayStation is going to upgrade your games when give it time for the companies to actually make that upgrade possible for your games. Like,
Good point. We're going to be moving on though. Crystal Chronicles. We talked about it last week, Alan. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles was re-released. Now, give us a scoop.
All right, here's what I got. First of all, when I bought the game, I really was excited for it because I actually played it on a GameCube. It was really hard to get people together to play that game, especially with all the bits and pieces you needed. 3 people needed Game Boy Advances. We had to have 3 Game Boy Advance cables, not to mention the GameCube, the controller.
Yes.
And so to get a good 4-player game, you got a lot of setup going on. But when it was there, it was magical. It was great. It was a great idea. But in practice, it was impractical. Now, it came out recently, and I was really excited. I bought it right away. This is the first time I bought a game. I don't usually buy $60 games right away. This one was $40, and I needed my nostalgia fix. So I picked it up because I was also excited that they were offering this option to be able to buy the game and then let your friends download the little light version, and they can join you for the majority of the game before they made a decision to purchase it. So this was cool. I got it all together, and then I think it was the first night or the second night, I don't remember which one, where I finally got somebody, it's actually Kyle, to get the light version and try to play with me. And oh boy, wasn't that a fun night, Kyle, of trying to
Oh my goodness.
figure out the menus and everything else, and trying to figure out how to actually play together. How do we play together? Why do we? I mean, when do we play together?
this sounds exciting, right? I mean, wow.
I know.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Going back to buying it, I bought it and I was driving around that day to go do some errands. So I purchased it before I went out, and I was listening to the IGN review, and they were giving it a 3 out of 10. So that
Oof.
was that was a eye opener. I was like, oh great, I just bought this game. Now I get to go figure out what the problem is. The menus are archaic. You can't move the camera. There's lots of problems. Loading screens are a little long. There's forced cutscenes that I would imagine are taking place of loading screens. Now, when you actually play the game and you got it going, it's still fun. It's a fun game. And once you figure out the things, the little nuance, it starts becoming a fun game, but getting there is the problem.
I totally agree with you. It kills like all the joy before you get into the game. Because it is a fun game when you're actually playing it and you're working together. Even carrying the dang crystal around, which you have to stay in. Yeah, that's fine. I like that dynamic because it makes you, you're not just hacking and slashing. You have to strategize. But yeah, just it took us, I'm not even exaggerating, 30 minutes to figure out how to log in together.
Yeah.
and it was a bit of a mess. It wasn't clear, and like you said, the mechanics overall, especially the menus, have not aged well
No,
at all.
I don't think this is how the menus were. I don't remember them being like this. I mean, there was no online, but I don't remember them being that clunky. Maybe they were. I mean, it's an old game. It's very possible. But come on, put some quality of life stuff in there. I mean, it can't be that
Right?
difficult.
Yeah, for $40,
Yeah.
for $40 remake, it's not a remaster, not a remake.
Remaster, yeah.
Well, whatever. It just kind of it's
Doesn't
basically
matter.
a port, upscaled
Mhm.
port. It's you expect a little bit more. On the flip side of things, I haven't actually played this, but I've been watching a ton on Twitch because no one's streaming Crystal Chronicles, but on Twitch,
I
people
wonder
are
why.
streaming Tony Hawk, which is a complete remake.
Oh my goodness, yes, and it looks.
Complete remake.
I hate Activision, but gosh, this game looks good. And I've been looking at the reviews and
Yeah.
that music. They took the
Oh,
old
my
music.
word.
Supposedly they had new music from the artists that are still
Mm-hmm.
going on. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, Activision, why are you such an evil company? Yet sometimes just pump out these gems that are just like, you want it. Ugh.
I recently came across, fortunately, some 40 odd some dollars. I thought I'd maybe buy a game. And I looked on it, and because of your constant berating of Activision, I was like, I cannot support them. I will not buy this game. And now I'm just hearing constant good things about it. And if you break, I swear to God, then I will buy
I
it.
am determined to wait for a sale. But
Have either of you played the originals? Did
Oh
you
my
guys play it back then? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I did too.
Yes. Oh my word! I played them
Oh,
all
okay,
day,
it got
every
me to
day.
destroy, mess up my knees trying to skateboard.
Oh, I know. My shins. No, my shins
Nice.
still have scars. I swear. I am a 35-year-old man, and I still have scars from my skateboard.
I love it. One last thing before we move on to our next topic. Well, just to wrap that up, Crystal Chronicles bad, Tony Hawk good. I wanted the opposite to happen. I didn't want Tony Hawk to be bad. I expected the opposite to happen, but
What's funny about the Tony Hawk thing, I don't mean to interrupt you, just a little story here. My brother actually bought the remake of Tony Hawk. Do you remember that? The Tony Hawk 6 or whatever that came out?
Yes, yeah.
Trash. I assumed we might get something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the expectation. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And so I actually told my brother about this game and everything else, and he's actually turned it down as well, strictly because of he bought the other game for the nostalgia fix. He put it on, and it just crushed him to the point where he was like, "I'm not. I can't buy this one. There's not again."
I cannot put my heart out there a second time.
I don't blame him. Yeah. So one last thing, Donkey Kong Country 2, amongst a couple other games, is coming to the Super Nintendo Classic, which I can't wait to play with you guys. But moving on, we're going to be going to our second topic, which is pop culture, general pop culture, but today it will be TV shows, specifically one on Amazon and one on this is the Mandalorian, Disney Plus. Couldn't remember what they were on. Good for Disney Plus for having that. I haven't actually watched The Boys. Let's start with that one, which is the Amazon one. But why don't you guys?
I finished season 1. Yeah.
I've been watching the newest season. It's very good.
All right, so let's go ahead and spoil all of season 1, and then you can spoil season 2 for me.
Spoiler alerts then? Are we giving the alert?
No. But it's basically a real life take on if superheroes were real and we're complete jerks. So yeah, and it's a fun show. It's a dark show. It's a
Give me the premise, because I really don't know what it's about at all.
I think Alan has explained it pretty well, but I think one of the great way for me to explain it is it's like watching Watchmen with good comical relief and not a big blue dong.
Sans the dong.
We got so much hate. Watch now. Anyway, it's a
Jealousy.
similar purpose. Yeah, a little bit, envy. It is definitely it has a similar premise, so I'll give you that. It's
I
Okay.
haven't seen the Watchmen. I haven't seen the Watchmen show, so I can't speak against that. I'm talking about the Watchmen movie, but I went in watching Boys season 1 going like, okay, this is either going to be good or this is going to go like over the top and unnecessary. And
Yeah.
it does go over the top and unnecessary, but in
Yeah,
a
in a very good
perfect way.
Oh,
Like,
I want to watch it. I just haven't found the time. Like you got to invest a little bit. Plus, I think it's mature rating, and I have a small
Yes.
child around me pretty much all day, except for now. But we're recording now, so
Yeah, I will say that they do have some sex scenes, but luckily they don't seem to show much nudity or anything like that.
the rating is proper.
yeah.
I'll say that. The rating
I
is
figured
proper.
I'll watch it one day. That's how I do things. Usually, like I watched Stranger Things last year for the first time and watched all 3 seasons. So I'll just wait till it's dead.
Just to give you a little bit of buzz to go want to watch it, the season 2, there's a scene where the Aqua person, and it's a semi-spoiler, not really though, is trying to find himself and get comfortable in his own body, and he's basically like Aquaman, and he has gills on his stomach, and he hides them.
Mm.
So he takes mushrooms to try to accept his physical form as it is, so he doesn't hide his gills anymore. There's a beautiful duet with him and his gills, who
Oh
are
my
voiced
gosh.
by Patton Oswalt, singing to each other about
The Gills have their own
Oh my
voice.
god.
gills
That's
get their own voice.
well, when he's on shrooms.
Yeah, it is hilarious. It was disgusting.
That's what I mean
But yeah,
about the comedic aspect is that like the comedic aspect is coming from a really dark place. Like when you see that episode, the dude with the guilt, I mean,
yeah,
he's
he is
really
yeah.
kind of like struggling, like seriously, and you'll have mixed emotions for him, but then when you see this thing with the shrooms, it's just hilarious. You can't stop laughing, and it doesn't matter if you hate him or love him. It's just hilarious.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a good show. I highly recommend it if you get a
I'm
chance.
getting some Tick vibes from the show. Maybe a little bit more
You
mature.
know, it's funny because they're both on Amazon. Yeah, they're both on Amazon, and whenever I watch this show, I do remember Tick, and it's sad.
I would say put
Right.
darkness
That's what I was gonna
filter
say.
over it.
It's the Tick, but mature rating. Now, on the other end of a more serious show, which is also has a season 2 coming out, The Mandalorian, which I'm actively watching the trailer on mute right now with subtitles, and my goodness, my goodness,
Yeah.
this they okay. There's a trailer out, so I'm not spoiling anything, but I just saw some X-wings, so it's like
No. Yeah.
thank you, thank you, John Favreau and the creators of the show for tickling my nostalgic whatever button because I don't, we don't need any of this, but my goodness, my nerd side wants it. This is the nerd BS coming into full effect. October 30th. Oh, I can't wait that long.
It looks amazing.
It's not
I'm
that
excited
far.
for it. And they made they funny thing about the first season made about got 5 Emmys for special visual effects, outstanding special visual effects, sound editing, cinematography, sound mixing, and the last one I saw was production design. So that's pretty crazy for just a little Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Pretty nuts.
Fantastic. Well deserved though. Well deserved.
Oh, I loved that show. I remember I would be doing something, and it'd be getting kind of close to midnight, and I'd be like, well, maybe I'll go to bed. Oh, wait, Mandalorian, the new one comes out tonight. I'll just wait. I'll just wait. It's almost midnight.
That's big for you.
I'll just wait.
You don't stay up late.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
loved it, man.
So
Yeah, so
well deserved on the Emmy wins. Congratulations to them. And I haven't been this stoked for a show, and I haven't been this stoked for a Star Wars anything in a while. But I'm just really excited for this next season to come out, and I like that they did once a week. Um, they didn't release it all at once, so you have to wait. It makes the show better, and I will argue that till my death.
That's what they're doing with The Boys as well. Is they released 3 episodes and they released the fourth one, and now I'm waiting for the fifth one. And I was gonna bring that up when you brought up the episodic thing. Is we were kind of spoiled in a way with these huge season dumps from Netflix and Hulu
Yeah,
and even Amazon. Like all of them, they would just do these huge dumps, and you got like what 10 to 12 hours of content you now want to binge through. And this, I kind of like this because you really get that old feeling of, I gotta wait. And when it comes out, you're like, oh man, I gotta watch this episode. And you're not worried about watching 5 episodes. You're just worried about watching one, the newest episode, the one everybody's gonna talk about, which is really cool. I'm really liking this turn that we're getting now.
yeah. It's so much better. And maybe they learned something, but we can talk about that another time. This week has been such a heavy week for video games. Obviously, we talked about the Xbox and PS5 for quite amount of time. We have shortened versions. Usually other topics we talk about more, but it's just there's so much to talk about in video games. The Mario thing, the Xbox and PS5, that can kind of consume this week. So we added most of the time to that. However, we do want to show some love to our tabletop games, and we'll just stick to D&D this week. And you guys are the ones that play it. You guys have a little bit of news on that, so why don't you guys take that away?
So I was going to talk about the Icewind Dale new adventure, which is coming out. It's a level 1 to 12 adventure. It's dealing with the Icewind Dale region of the Forgotten Realms. It's pretty exciting that we're getting this now. A little backstory on Icewind Dale for me. I didn't really play D&D when I was younger, but I did see the D&D games, and Icewind Dale was one of those games. And it, for some reason, it piqued my interest more than the Baldur's Gate ones and stuff like that. So this one coming out is really exciting, and so I've been looking into it, and I was reading into it, and it's talking about it's like a horror adventure, which I'm actually running Curse of Strahd, and so another horror one would be really fun to run or even play in. Hopefully, I can play in one of these someday. But it looks really cool. They're talking about 79 new monsters for the encounters, which is pretty crazy. And then obviously
Do you know any of the monsters?
off the top of my head, no, it doesn't. At least I don't see it on this on the post they put. But there's like some sort of owl creature on here, which and wolves and stuff. Probably zombies, I'm assuming, of some type. Frost related things. Beholder stuff.
I have heard rumor of uh, a tundra owlbear or a
Yeah, like a
snowy
polar bear type
owlbear.
thing, but without. It's gonna
Yeah, I have heard rumors of that. So
one of our players actually posted in the chat the gnome mind flare. So I don't know if that was an enemy. I know they added the mind flare half mind flare race that's supposed to come out with the new Baldur's Gate tie-in. There's supposed to be a tie-in to the Baldur's Gate 3 game, so we're supposed to get that, which sounds really interesting as well. That's pulling away a little bit, but yeah. But I love the maps they do. They got a bunch of new maps and everything like that. I'm really excited for this one, to be honest. Just a horror theme in a tundra. It sounds really good, and like I said, the Icewind Dale region has always fascinated me more than Baldur's Gate or anything else.
and for me, it's really, I think it's coming at a great time, because it's starting to become fall. We're coming towards, you know, the whole kind of Halloween and Christmas season. I feel
Oh
like it
man,
will be
yeah,
a good add-on coming for the
I
coming
really
months.
hope I can
Like,
get someone to
yeah.
run it. I know I'll probably be running Curse of Strahd through Halloween this year. I almost guarantee it, and so that'll be fun. But I would love to actually play in this one, but we'll see, because I do love running horror themed games, as I started running a little Call of Cthulhu here and there, and now Curse of Strahd. So this is also right up my alley for that fact. So I don't know. I'll see what I do, but this looks really fun, really dark. The cover looks really dark and kind of eerie. Uh,
Yeah, that cover
it
looks fantastic.
Yeah, and so I'm just excited to see where it's gonna go. But yeah, So I'm excited. I don't know about you, Tomas, and hopefully we find yourself a modular run.
Yeah, I maybe this will be my first module. Who knows? That would be interesting because I do like the tundra aspect. I do like the creatures and monsters. I've often thought of playing in a more like located, like if I was to run a campaign, I would want to play one less in a city and more in the wilderness, and I feel like Icewind Dale gives you that. Like,
It's definitely an idea, which is, like I said, it's really cool. I can't wait to just look through it and just see what they've come up with in this thing when it comes out.
When's the release? Do we know? Does it have a date or no?
See it on here. Yeah,
Coming out soon.
it is coming out soon. I don't know exactly when.
Maybe we can circle back on that next time.
Yeah.
But it does look that cover looks rad. Like, I don't want any part of that. Like, if that was real life, I don't want to fight an owl, wolf, man, man, bear, pig. So
there's a list of monsters here, but there's no pictures or anything.
Yeah, we need the pictures. So let's move on to let's move on to the last portion of the show, where we do a couple of different segments. But the first one is, what are some games you guys are playing, and or what are you looking forward to? So Alan, what are you playing this week?
Oh man, yeah, you think about this. Well, I'll just say I just 100% at Odyssey, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, congrats!
I got really excited for Super Mario 3D All Stars, and I went, you know what I didn't do? Wrap up Odyssey. So I went back and did it, and it was challenging. There was a lot of really hard ones, but oh my goodness, when I got to the end, it felt pretty sweet to finally finish it off. Even the minor trophy of that weird picture at the end, which was
I was
super exciting, but
you got
even
the picture. Yay!
Yeah, it felt great, and I was like, all right, good. I finally finished this game. I even went back to start doing the balloons, and then I found out that it's not really like it didn't seem like it's really a checkoff thing. It's just like something you can do for fun. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's not really more.
Yeah, that balloon game is kind of fun.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I looked at it. I was like, oh, whatever. I mean, I did what I need to do. I can move on now.
Yeah.
But amazing game. Forgot how great and solid that game is. That is a fun game. Really fun. I would actually probably put it up there as probably the best. And it maybe that's what most people say, but it's probably the best 3D Mario game they've made so far. I mean, it's
I agree.
Traditional enough with a cool enough gimmick that it keeps it interesting, and it makes it really interesting when you have to be different monsters and stuff. It's really fun. Love it. Can't recommend it enough.
Best Mario game so far, in my opinion. Tomas, what are you playing this week?
Well, I have switched from Neo to a game called Kingdoms of Amalur: The Re-Reckoning.
Did you finish playing Neo? Or beat it?
Yeah, I mean, I had already. Oh, I got all but one trophy.
Oh, so you didn't? I mean, come on. I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, I got 100% in Neo 2, but not in the DLC. So I was kind of like, eh. But I have been playing Kingdoms of Amalur: The Re-Reckoning. I really enjoyed it. I actually bought Kingdoms of Amalur when it first came out.
Isn't it written by like R.A. Salvatore or something?
Yeah, it's written by R.A. Salvatore.
I have that game on 360.
And I bought it, and I swore I was going to play it, and I think I got to the first town, and I was like, I'm done. And I'm playing it this time, and I have gone past the first town. I think I've made it to like the fourth area, and it's a little slow. The start of the story is a little slow. It's a little hard to really get into, and it's a bit like Skyrim, where it just overloads you with all these quests, and you're just kind of like, I don't know what to do. This is too much. I am playing it again. I have gotten a bit farther, and I would say yesterday was the day that it finally got to a point where it started to poke my interest. Like, ooh, okay, this is interesting. I will continue playing. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think it's definitely worth the price.
Was it full price?
No, it was $39.99. So
Again, what
add tax.
it's what Mario should have costed. So what I've been playing this week is Mario Kart Tour, not World Tour. I almost said World Tour. But the only reason I'm playing Mario Kart Tour is because there are some collectible pins, like button pins that you can put on your vest, your sweater vest, I guess. That Nintendo is releasing with the Super Mario 3D All Stars, and one of the things you have to do is play Mario Kart for however, I don't know. They don't even say. They don't specify. Just participate in
Yeah,
the tour.
it's like participate in the tour.
Yeah, yeah. It's very vague, and I've completed all the cups. I've done it all, and I'm even doing all the daily challenges. I will hopefully complete all of it, and surprisingly, I love it because at this point in my life, a 2-lap race on Mario Kart is about all I can squeeze in at a time when you have a 1-year-old child running around your house. You don't get to sit down and play a full-length RPG. You get to play Mario Kart for 2 laps at a time, and then you're back at taking care of the kid. So it worked out great, and I actually love it. I love it's that dopamine that you get from the mobile games that just it hits you because you get the points. And yeah, I actually surprisingly like it. I just will probably delete it once once the quest is over. Yeah.
Weird question on that. Have you found it difficult at all, or has it just been pretty standard? Because I haven't really found any much difficulty with it.
The only difficulty is getting full stars, getting full 5 stars, or
Yeah, I
completing
haven't
the
done that.
challenges.
I haven't done that yet.
That's the dopamine I'm talking about. You get first or second place your first try every time. That's like,
Yeah,
it's that drug. It's like, yeah, first place, I'm great.
it's just
So
enough
good.
to keep you going. Yeah, I just caught up with it too. Yeah, same thing.
So the only difficult part is trying to get 5 stars on every level and complete certain challenges. But
Mhm.
other than that, it's pretty.
I haven't really done challenges yet, but yeah, maybe I'll have to check into that because I've been trying to log in every day because I was saving really hard to get any character that I liked. That was difficult. Luckily,
Bowser. I
finally
got Bowser right away.
I got King Boo, and I was pretty happy. And then I got one of the Koopas, what do we call him? Both the backwards hat. He's one of the speed racers from Mario Odyssey, so that was kind of cool too.
Nice.
See, I'm from the N64 days. Toad, just a little Toad, man.
No. Yeah. You don't
Yeah.
get that Toad out of here, okay? We got
No one plays Toad.
Metal Mario nowadays, Frozen Luigi, all sorts of
Why Bowser?
junk.
That's my jam on 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch on the characters, but I like that game. I'm enjoying it. Speaking of games that we're playing, we're going to move on to the indie of the month. This is our independent game section. Tomas isn't the biggest independent game follower, so I'm going to skip you this round, Tomas. But Alan, what have you played?
If you don't spend $100 million making a game, I don't want to talk to you.
Not worth my time.
Anyways,
Alan, what have you been playing?
this was
What's
actually
your
my
indie of the
interest,
month?
Tomas, as well, and I've been just trying this game out. It's Nexomon Extinction, and it's actually semi Pokemon clone. It's on PS4, Switch, Xbox, I'm pretty sure, and Steam. It's been on Steam first. It's essentially a Pokemon clone, plain and simple. You start very simple. The only major difference at the beginning I found is you get to pick, instead of between the 3 starters, there's actually 7 starters, which is basically one of each element. So you can start with any element you want, and then you start the game. And the main difference I found as well is the difficulties ramped back up. So when you play Sword and Shield, the newest ones, they're pretty easy. You kind of get your Pokemon, and your starter will really just rip through everything. You don't have to worry about it. This one, you got to plan it out, and you can really only take down a couple monsters with your main before they're depleted. So you really got to start building that team early on. And I don't know, you probably remember Red and Blue, Tomas, where you actually had to all right, I started the game. I need to make a team so I can actually get somewhere, or else I'm just gonna have to keep going back to the Pokemon Center.
You had to plan that shit out. Like, I'm gonna catch him here, him here, him here, him here, and I think I got 6 by by Surge? Yeah, 6 by Surge. We're good. Let's
So
go.
so basically, it's so far it's been that. I haven't gotten too deep into it yet, but I did make a team and I started moving forward. No online versus yet, but the developers said that if they can make enough money, essentially, there's enough buzz for it. They plan on implementing PvP like Pokemon has. But the primary awesomeness about this is not only is a pretty independent developer. It used to be an app. Not sure how good that game is, but it's finally something that attempts to compete with Pokemon again, because Pokemon has been on this rampage for a while where nothing else has gotten close. So hopefully this can get somewhere. But that's about it. Good game. I'd check it out. Nexamon Extinction, about $20, not too much of a price point. But anyway,
Yeah, that is a good price point. I like 20 and under. The indie of the month for me this time is Battletoads on the Xbox, and I love the old Battletoads, and I've been playing this one. I've been actually streaming it a little bit, which is a whole other story I can get into on my soapbox. Yeah, I'll get into it in the soapbox, but it's a beat 'em up. It follows the Battletoads, the Rash, Pimple, and Zitz from the old games. Funny names plus funny story. And it's it's a good, it fills that beat 'em up itch, so to speak. I don't know, I don't even know if it's an indie of the month, but it's what I've been playing. Like, I don't know if it's
I don't know why, but I'm getting hardcore like Earthworm Jim vibes with
yeah,
those
it
names.
has that
similar
attitude.
style. Yeah.
It has that 90s attitude, and it's a fun
Right.
story. There's a lot of cutscenes. It's like watching a cartoon show. It'd be fun to play like if my kid was older and he was watching or playing with me, because it is 3 players, which is super cool. But why it's my indie of the month is because it was released on Game Pass with the subscription day of release. Like, it's part of Game Pass. So another, going back to Xbox, just full circle here, why it's great. That brings us, though, to the end of our show here, where we go on our soapbox rants and we get to talk about whatever it is we want to talk about, whether it's nerd, BS, or just straight BS. This is our time for the soapbox. And this week, Tomas is up first. So, Tomas, what do you got for us?
So mine's a little depressing. So I'm going to keep it short. Well, I'm going to try and keep it short. And I'm going to try and not get too frustrated or just completely enraged. I am at a point where I feel like some of these COVID issues have, well, I mean, they've been out of control, and they're just getting more and more out of control. As of last month, the European Union decided to ban any more travel from U.S. tourism into Europe. And the thing is the U.S. travel tourism business in the EU makes 10% of their profit. It employs over 11% of their population. And so for them to take a hit like that in their economy because we haven't taken measures to stop the spread of this virus, people are complaining about how I don't have to wear a mask, I don't have to quarantine, I don't have to, the countries that did that, like Spain and France and I mean even countries like Macedon, countries that did that have it now curved. Their bell curve is going down. It is not still continuing or rising as ours is. We have gotten to the point where we cannot travel anywhere. If we want to travel, we have to now fill out visas and applications. Do you know that what other countries needed to do that? Third world countries. They needed to fill out applications and visas to go and travel. Why is the US now come down to this? Like, maybe it's because I grew up when America was awesome and was the jewel, well, was still semi the jewel of the Western half. And it just feels like a real shame to have to lose all that just because some people refuse to take the reality that's in front of them. And I for one am tired of it, and I'm putting away my soapbox now. I'm sorry for that, but I'm done, and I won't do it again next week. I
No,
promise.
no need to
I'm
apologize.
done.
That's what the soapbox is for.
Agreed.
Alan, you are up.
But anyways, like I said earlier, I'm evacuated, so it's been an interesting time for me, and a lot of emotions watching the fire go toward closer to where I live. It's no fun, but luckily, we've had some influx of fun and inspiring things. Not you got Super Mario 3D All Stars, which really perked me up quite a bit waiting for that game, even though I had to contact Amazon and figure out how to switch the address. But one of the big things that came out right before that is, for those that don't know, I know these two fools do, but I really love ska music from back in the day. It's something that hooked me when I was really young, and has been with me ever since. It's always been my comfort food in rough times. Just having the background. I even stopped listening to a lot of podcasts because I just need something to comfort too. And this great album came out, Ska Against Racism, out of nowhere, with some good money to some good not-for-profit companies, which is awesome. But particularly, I just wanted the music. If I'm going to be selfish, they have a lot of really good bands on here. You got Tim Time Bomb, Chinkies, Planet Smashers, Hep Cat, MU330, one of the newer bands I started listening to, Kill Lincoln, Less Than Jake, Catbite, Buck09, Lost Kung Fu Monkeys. Like, I could keep going on. There's freaking 28 songs on here. One of the bigger ones is Five Iron Frenzy, one of my favorite bands. They put a song on here, and it's an amazing song. It's definitely one of the more politically driven songs that they've done, but it's still really good, and it's a really good listen to. I know people got mad because they donated the song to Bad Time Records for this organization, but it's a good song. All these songs are amazing. I can't stop listening to the album. I highly recommend people go check it out. If you don't listen to ska music, it's a ska punk style. A lot of it is ska punk. A little bit is the ska reggae sound or lighter ska, but it's all just good. It's a good time and it's a good message. That's pretty much it.
Nice. Yes, you actually got me. You sent me that, and I bought the album because it's a donation. And maybe we can post the link on our Twitter for that. But
Oh yeah, I do that.
which we have a Twitter, by the way.
Oh yeah.
There's that plug for that. So, but I still haven't listened to it, and I feel so bad. And I gotta get on that, especially after you listed all the bands. Oh my gosh. Anyways, my soapbox this week went through a morphing during this recording. It started with Mario Kart, and then it was going to be about Xbox, and now totally different. I remembered what I wanted to talk about earlier this week, which is it kind of ties in with the new Avengers video game, and we didn't really talk about it because none of us have played it, but we haven't played it for a reason. Like, this may be the first time a big titled Avengers game has come out, and none of us have been excited or even wanted to purchase it. And my theory is that this trend of gaming and movies and media in general of going into this dark realm of, like, everything needs to be gritty and dark and have this overtone of that of evil around that, it's over, and it's too much, and people don't want it anymore. And you could blame it on the pandemic that we're currently in, that people don't want dark stuff anymore, but I think it's just been overdone. And I never really got into it with starting with like the X-Men kind of series, and then some of the DC movies just went dark and gritty. I wasn't a big fan of it, and the proof to me is that, look at, especially video games, the Avengers games isn't doing so great. Not a lot of people playing it. It is what it is. But look at the numbers for Animal Crossing, and look at the numbers for the Mario game. With the pre-orders alone are skyrocketing. And that's, to me, is there's this vibrant, colorful, imaginative world where superheroes, to rant on, I guess this is an Avengers rant, the superheroes used to be bright and colorful, and they were contrasted to the world. Now they're kind of toned down, and they match the dark world that they're in. And it's just, you don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of that. I want there to be hope. The reason I actually like Superman is because of his costume. It exuberates hope, and that's probably the worst example is those dang Superman movies where they colored it down. They like scaled it down to where it was actually literally dark, and I hate it for that. And that's my soapbox for this week is the lack of color in games. I think is not good. It's not good for our souls, at least not right now.
Yeah, I agree. I just said I was playing Odyssey and the Mario game. It's the same thing. It's like those are comfort. They're bright, colorful. They kind of pull you out of this madness and kind of let you just have some happiness for a little while. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but I agree.
Well, thank you, and I really appreciate both of you guys. That is the end of our show. Thank you for sticking through it all the way to the end, even through our soapbox. And we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Alan, Tomas, why don't you say bye to the listeners?
All right. See you guys later.
We'll be back next time shoveling more of that BS.
That's it for Nerd BS.